Hi everyone, welcome to book club number 32. Hello, come on in guys. Just checking that I have the right book club number. So, we are talking about the book, A Radical Awakening. I don't have the book with me, I left it at a friend's house, and I'm too lazy to go upstairs and get a new one. So here it is. We're talking about a radical awakening. Come on in. So, my main teachings, I say this because I have 1,000 main things, okay? But my main one for this moment is this is the core of my teachings, yes? If you ever chose to take one of my courses, which are 50% off, which you should take right now, or if you chose to become a conscious parenting coach at my institute, you could apply for that and you would see that my main teachings are all about deconstruction, right? Deconstruction, that's what I call it. My first conference that I ever did on my own was called Deconstructing Parenthood. And then I decided to call it Evolve because that's the bigger umbrella, is how do we evolve? So what does it mean to evolve and what does it mean to deconstruct? So to evolve means to get closer and closer in touch with your authentic self. What is the authentic self? Every sentence requires 10 sentences to explain. The authentic self is, in a nutshell, the unconditioned self. What is the unconditioned self? I'm a pain in the butt, I know. The unconditioned self is the self that is not yet contaminated by culture and other people's bullshit, which is no self ever. So there is no self that is unconditioned. Everyone's self is conditioned till here. But the goal of evolution is to unlayer the crap to arrive at your unconditioned self. The more and more unconditioned you are, the more liberated you are, people. If you go back to my video, I have a video posted on Instagram. I'm looking on my other phone. It says, you are not who you think you are. That's what I'm talking about. That is the unconditioned self. The self that you don't think you are. The self that is not contaminated, polluted, colored, marred, influenced to purgatory by culture. That self. That self that none of us know. But that is where we have to go. And when you get there, you arrive at liberation. So, how to arrive there is called deconstruction. Or that's what I call deconstruction. How do you get to your unconditioned authentic self? Through a careful, brilliant process of deconstruction. Now, you'd be like, I don't want to deconstruct. I just want to live. Okay. You think you're just living. You're actually just robotic and conditioned and regurgitated. Most of us are not living unconditioned lives. We're not living our own life. We are living somebody else's version of our life. What they think we need to live. Their opinion about our life, but we don't even know it. This is the sinister part of our ego, of this false persona that we have created that makes us believe we are living our life, but we are not. We are robotic puppets. The strings are all around us, but we don't see it. We don't see it. You and I, and she and they and them, we're all puppeteered. And the more we leave ourselves, our authentic selves behind, the more we spin out of control, right? Now we've gotten married. Now we have 3 children. They have 3 children. The in-laws are up your business. Now you're like, Now the cobwebs and the labyrinths and the complexity and the mystery gets more and more complex. How do we extricate, right? And I'm not saying that the people are the problem. It's the enmeshments that are the problems. It is the dysfunction that are the problems. It is the surrounding yourself with more and more unconscious people that's the problem. And then you have more and more problems, right? You buy the big house, then you have problems. Everything is breaking down. You have the big garden, everything is breaking down. You have the 6 cars, everything is breaking down. So as you grow older and you keep thinking that you're going to arrive at yourself the false way, which is collect more, acquire more, be more, do more, achieve more, have more children, more shoes, more bags, you don't realize that by 45, when midlife crisis hits, you're like, oh my God, now what do? I have so many things, so many people, so many relationships. How do I ever untangle this huge labyrinth, right? So this is the problem. This is how life in the modern era gets us, screws us. Because by the time you arrive at some wisdom, it's a little bit too late. Too many people involved. How to let go of this puzzle, right? This is in India, where I grew up. You don't just make one mistake, you make 1,000 mistakes, because every person you are in relationship comes with their whole family, right? You and your best friend can't even break up, because now you and the best friend's brother and his family and his children and the neighbors are all part of your life. They all came for the wedding. 5,000 people come for the Indian wedding. Everybody in the town comes. Now you're really screwed. You're like, oops, I just made a mistake. No, you can't make a mistake in India, because it's the whole system. This is how they get you. They're like, sorry, where are you going to run away now from all of us? The whole town, the whole village knows, right? So anyway, just saying that this is how life gets us, because it's telling us to add. And now you're like, oh my God, I have too many things. I have 2 mortgages, I have 3 cars, I have 4 pianos, and 6 guitars. That becomes a problem. Who will get the guitars? Now I can't let go of my guitars. So because you can't let go of your guitars, you decide it's better not to change, because if I give away my guitars and that friend gets upset and this child gets upset, it'll cause too much problem. Let's stay the same. So now evolution becomes a problem, because you have so much shit in your life and in your head, right? So you don't change. You're like, no, how can I change? Right? So I see this happening a lot with my clients, right? They have a great job in city A. So they have a great job in, say, Austin, Texas. But then they get another great job in Brazil. They're like, how can I go to Brazil, even if it's a better job in Brazil? An amazing situation in Brazil. Amazing. A love life that's amazing. Super house by the beach that's amazing. But they're like, oh, how can I let go of the house and the dog and the fence in Austin? I'm not saying to let go of the dog, but you know what I mean. How can I? So we don't even open ourselves to possibilities, because we're attached and we're enmeshed. So then they complain, oh, but the job in Austin isn't as good as the job in Brazil. I'm like, then why don't you go to the job in Brazil? They're like, but how do I leave my life in Austin? Right? So again, our attachments to who we were keep us stuck and not evolving. So this is the problem. Our attachments to who we think we are. Here in my video, you are not who you think you are. Go and watch this video. This is how it looks. Hold on. It looks like this one. So liberation can only come about when you are really able to see the game. And what is the game? The game is that there is a form-based existence, which is very alluring and beguiling. Okay? Form. Cars. Things. Jewelry, socks, shoes. I mean, endless. Hair products, eye products, lipstick, travel, bucket list. So the form-based world kills you, right? It's so enamoring and alluring. But the form-based world also traps you. And most of us, I'm talking like 99.9999999% of us, okay? 99.999% live very much in the form-based world. And to detach from the form-based world would require a new perspective. And that is what wisdom gives you. And that new perspective is to deconstruct all the bullshit that you're attached to. So that is my job in this world. That's why I have been given this, that's why I'm here. Okay, so I don't know who gave it to me. I gave it to myself. This job to deconstruct all the bullshit. I've decided. What do you do, Dr. Shefali? I help people deconstruct their bullshit with pleasure, with great excitement. Every day I wake up, who can I help today to liberate themselves? No, this is really my mission. Okay, that's it. That's what moves me. That's what drives me, because I see the crap and I go, oh my God, I can help this person release themselves. They're just stuck. They're just velcroed to a dumb idea. Sorry. So I just happen to see a lot of the cultural institutions for what it is they are. And they have some good in them, but at their core, cultural institutions are mired in scarcity, fear, lack, impoverishment, control. That's it. And the minute you succumb to cultural institutions, you are only a mere puppet, a mere spoke in the wheel. You are never going to be the car itself. And if you want to live your life in your own power, you need to see through the beguilements and the ensnarements of a culture that seeks to puppeteer you. But for that, you have to be brave. You have to be very brave, because you've been indoctrinated to follow, to be part of. It feels very comfortable to be in the middle of the crowd, because in the middle of the crowd, you have an illusion that it is safe, that if everyone is going the same way, surely I'm not wrong. So you feel comfortable. But if you're not in the middle of the crowd, maybe you are staying on the sidewalk of your life by being on the couch, right? By just being stagnant, by waiting for somebody else to take charge, right? So we stay small in two ways. Number one, we wait. Waiting is our best tactic. We just wait. Wait for what? What are we waiting for? Right? We're waiting for, I don't know, the weather to turn, luck, the magic gnome to fall from the sky to give us a lotto ticket, to say you are the winner of the grand lotto, right? We're waiting for something like that, like the publisher weekly check to come knocking on your door, right? You know you're waiting for it. We're waiting for something, because in the fairy tales, the princess was just in the garden and she was just waiting, and then, oh my goodness, look who came, a prince. Wow, just for her. And her whole life changed, right? So we're waiting or we're following, right? And both are the same. They both are the same. So in these ways, we feel safe and we feel comfortable, because we don't have to risk our loss of old self, right? All of us are very attached to what we're attached to. So to evolve means to risk what we were attached to. To evolve is to take that boat to frickin' Brazil or wherever, to leave your town, to leave, to try, to grow, to evolve. But it is so scary to do that, because we have been conditioned to play safe, right? Or to take a risk only for the sake of money, for the sake of becoming thin or rich, right? That we'll take some risks for. We'll go to the gym for. That we'll go on a diet for, because it's got some observable, concrete, form-based goal. But the formless, the other part of the game that we totally miss, is the formless element of life, which is our evolution, which is our freedom, right? So we don't see how we're attached. Our mental webs are all connected to things, and our identity and our ways of being. And as long as we are, we will not be free, right? So I'll tell you, in my own life, I'll be vulnerable. So as an author, you get a little attached to how people like your book, okay? That's the ego of the damn author, okay? My first 4 books, promise you, I was only 10% attached. I was going to say 0, but I was like, no, that's not true. But this book, 60% attached. Not 100, 60. Honest. Now, I know that's my false self. It's my human self, and I love her. She's so sweet. She's so cute. And then she has a father who's very attached to her form-based success. So her father sends reports every day. How the book is doing. Now it's up, now it's done. I'm like, oh my goodness. So between my false self as an author and my dad's false self, we are like a little bit in trouble. So I told myself with this book, you will have till August 1st to do this bullshit, okay? To care, to be in your ego around your book. Till August, you do it. You look at the reviews, you look at the but I gave myself a deadline when this book began in May. 3 months max, you do this or whatever the months are, and then that's it. So my time is coming up. August 1st, I'm going to stop. I'm done. I'm tired of my false self because the damn false self is exhausting. So when I do want to enter false self, I will give myself limits of time. I will give myself a period of time. So when I got married, for instance, I don't know how many years ago, long time ago, I gave myself 2 weeks to be in false self. So my mother got 2 weeks notice to plan my wedding. And she's like, are you kidding me? An Indian woman in India, 2 weeks? I said, Mom, if you don't get me married in 2 weeks, I don't know when my inspiration will be to get married. So you have 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, I found an outfit. In 2 weeks, I found the shoes. In 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. And then after the wedding, she was like, do you know how many thousands of people I forgot to call? I was like, good. That means they weren't meant to be there. She's like, no, now this one is upset with me and that I forgot because you stressed me out and you only gave me 2 weeks, right? So I give myself a limit. If I have to go for an Oprah interview, trust me, evening before, I'll go crazy. Like, what do I wear? What do I wear tomorrow? Right? And my girlfriends are like, you don't know what you're going to wear tomorrow? I'm like, no. Now I go crazy the evening before. When my daughter has anxiety about a dentist 6 months in advance, my daughter hates injections or shots or anything really. I tell her, Maya, you can freak out and flip out on the drive there, but you cannot do it 6 months in advance. But on the drive there, you can go bananas. And she's like, really? I go, you go crazy in the car. Cry, scream, yell, act like a total insane lunatic 20 minutes before. So what am I saying with that? This is a trick of living. I've just given you my art of living, okay, how I live. Before the thing, depending, if it's a wedding, 2 weeks. If it's a Oprah thing, 24 hours. Dentist, 10 minutes. It depends on the proportion of the thing. Don't be an idiot and don't prepare. You have to enter false self at some point. But no, it's your false self. So for my book, because I'm so passionate about this and I'm so attached to this book, I gave myself 3 months to go bananas, right? I'm like, be in your false self, be in your ego about it. But at some point, you got to snap out of it. This is not you. This is not you. This is nothing. It means nothing. It means nothing, right? So I've had this perspective since my early 20s, and I use it as my formula for living. What is the proportion? And I've said this in my courses or somewhere, I don't know, in one of my books. You have 10 fingers, right? This is how I live. One finger, this one, is allowed to be a moron, false self, ego, afraid, anxious, worried about the future, worried about the image, worried about money. This one. All form-based worries can be this finger. But all these have to be in the formless. Compassion, generosity, abundance, beauty, appreciation, in the moment, presence, equanimity, joy, right? This is the 9 have to be focused. So in my day, 9 fingers got to be in the stream of the highest vibration. And then 10% of the day can be where I'm bitching, cursing, gossiping. I'm in my lowest self. Now, if there's a day that I don't go into lowest self, doesn't mean the next day I get 20%, okay? It's like day by day. You didn't use your quota, too bad for you. So if you live like this, knowing that the form is always going to catch you, it's ready to take you, but you have the presence of mind to keep it to your one finger, and the rest is focused on your power, on your empowerment, on deconstruction, on release, on liberation, on freedom, then you can manage. But you got to manage this in your mind. You got to say, okay, I have an exam coming up. I'll get worried from this moment to this moment. Or if I have a book coming out, I'll work my ass off with my ego like fully involved from May to da-da-da. Whatever, give a limit. Otherwise, the ego takes over. And when you are in ego, you got to know you're in ego. Completely. You got to know, okay, I'm in my book, right? So I have to, like, you have to acknowledge, you have to own, right? So I'm owning, I'm attached to the success of this book right now. But it's ending soon. And then when it ends, what I do is I release it. Finish. I've sent it out. It doesn't belong to me. I have nothing to do with it much, right? And I move on, I evolve. I shed the old and evolve. But if we're not willing to shed the old, we will not evolve. And this is to my point. We're all just so attached to what we're attached to that we cannot move on. So all my work is about evolution. What is evolution? Reaching your authentic self. What is the authentic self? It is the unconditioned self, which no one has. How do you get to the unconditioned self? You deconstruct. Deconstruct what? All the false, fear-based, lack-based conditionings bombarded into your brain, brainwashed into your psyche by culture and by your unconscious caregivers from childhood. So if you want to live a free life, you have to move on. You have to shed the old. You cannot be afraid of the new. You cannot be afraid, because actually the new is not the new. It's just the present. It's the present. The present moment is always new. So what are you afraid of the new? If you're afraid of the new, you haven't been living in the present. If you live in the present, there is no such thing called new. You're always in the present. The present is always new. So whatever you've been afraid of has already happened to you a million times. You've been always living in the new. You just didn't realize it. You were unconsciously living in the new. So to evolve takes courage. It takes effort. It takes at least a year out of your life. No joke. People come to me and they're like, oh, can I have a few sessions with you so I can evolve? I'm like, and then what you're going to do? You cannot have a few sessions with me. It's going to take, no, with me you can, but it's going to take you for a year minimum to evolve. How do you evolve? You meditate, you journal, you talk to a therapist, you take courses, you read books. You have to declare a commitment to this PhD called evolution, minimum a year, right? That's like the basics. I've been doing this since 21. You may not even know that I was doing it for 25 years, but I've been doing this since I was 21 years old. And that's how I can talk about it with some literacy or fluency, because I've been doing it and I have been seeing how hard it is to do it. That's why I can help people a little bit. So this is no joke. So if you want to arrive at freedom, you have to commit to freedom. To commit to freedom, you have to undo everything that you did and you learned. And that takes effort and deconstruction. So anyway, my courses are 50% off now. So if you want to go to my website, drshefali.com, to courses, I have courses on conscious growth. My signature course is the Awakened Heart, Year of Manifestation, Free to Be, which is an intimacy course, a conscious intimacy course. Tons of parenting courses, kids under 6, teenage, anger, a dad's course. I have a conscious health course. I have tons of stuff. And the only courses not in the discount, 50% off, not in the discount, are my Luminous Women's Membership Group, which is going to open next month, and my Conscious Coaching Institute. If you are interested, you can apply next month when the doors for that open as well. So all my courses 50% off with the coupon code SAVE50. Meditation courses, Yes, I have 52 hours of these courses and I'm giving them at 50% off. I do this twice a year. So, so take a risk, take a chance, grow and evolve. And I will see you for my next book club when I see you. Bye, guys.